Honestly, we all have heard about twin flames, soulmates, karmic relationships in general. And I'm thinking that is kind of time that we sat down, you and I, and talked about my perspective on it and just basically dived into the nitty gritty, all about the different signs that you're in a karmic relationship and then also what to do from there. And I will say right off the bat here that my perspective on this may be a little different than other people's just because I'm not one to really sign labels to if they're a twin flame, a soulmate, yada yada yada. Because to me it really doesn't matter. It's either you're in a karmic fated kind of connection or you're not. So first let me define what I define a karmic relationship as, which to me a karmic relationship is more or less a fated connection that you feel there's a greater significance to the connection, especially when it comes to your overall life path. And I should mention that this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad relationship or a good relationship because karma in itself is neutral. It's saying that what you've put into something is what you're going to get back. And sometimes we just have to admit that what we're putting into situations is not always going to be great or maybe not aligned with our soul or highest purpose, etc. So it can take, karmic turns for the worse. But even the best relationships that you have that help you grow stronger and become wiser are still karmic relationships in themselves, but you're working on that karma in a positive way. The spectrum of duality means that it's always both good and bad. So diving into the signs that you are in a karmic relationship, number one and probably the most obvious is that you are going to be almost inexplicably drawn to this person. As in when you see them or hear about them, there's going to be a little tickle of resonance in you that's like,
hey, pay attention to this.
For whatever reason, it makes me think of like that Debbie Ryan stare because that's like totally the energy of like, hey, I want this, I'm gonna go get it. That I feel like a lot of karmic relationships hold, for better or for worse. I mean, this could be with a friend, with a coworker, with a mentor, with, a significant other or something like that. It doesn't matter. It's basically just, there's a certain kind of preference that you feel in your soul almost that you're like, I need to connect with this person for some reason. As an example, we'll just say when I met my best friend, I had heard about her from another friend that I had, and for whatever reason, she always just intrigued me. Versus maybe another person that they would reference, which I would just be like, okay, like whatever, basically take or leave that information. But when it comes to having some type of karmic bond with somebody, you will feel an interest and almost like I was saying, a preoccupation with them, even if you don't really know them and you just kind of hear about them or even see them on social media or something like that. Which is funny because she also mentioned that she felt similarly towards me. So in a way that shows kind of this mutual like past life connection, like you know each other without really even knowing each other. Your souls kind of recognize each other as like,
hey, this is somebody you need to pay attention to.
And honestly, I feel like I should make a whole video about this feeling of resonance because I talk about it a lot, but I've never really dived into it. So if you want me to make that video, comment down below and I'll get right on that. But that leads me to the next sign that you are in a karmic relationship or that you are meeting a karmic person, and that is that they might keep popping up in mysterious ways in your life regardless of you actually like trying to connect with them. Going back to the example I said with my friend, I heard about her, but then I kept seeing her on like social medias, and then I ended up having classes with her and we kept getting sat next to each other. Little coincidences like that, it's almost like the universe is like pushing you towards another person, and honestly it's kind of impossible to not take that as like a sign to continue the relationship. It's almost like the momentum is being built by the universe to get you guys to, get comfortable with each other and almost in a really fast way. That's another sign that you're in a karmic bond with somebody, is you just feel like you connect with them. For whatever reason, you feel like they may just understand what you've been through in your life, even if they don't even know anything about it. Like there's just feeling of mutual baseline that you might be coming from, that you can just feel this like resonance and understanding, like I was saying. A kind of cheesy experience I've had with this is where I've met somebody and we were just like hanging out smoking weed, and we literally just stared at each other's eyes and like giggled for like a good 15 minutes because we were just
vibing with each other on that level.
Another time of mutual agreement that not really sure why we connected the way we did, but we both were like, yeah, I feel this. It's almost like these people can understand you deeper than any other person without you even really needing to explain a lot. That's definitely a sign of a karmic relationship. Another sign of being in a karmic relationship is psychic preoccupation. Now this one is going to kind of depend a little bit on your own level of awareness and just how much you've cleansed your own energy and just are aware of what you got going on basically. But a lot of the time I find with the karmic relationships is that it's way easier for you to connect on a psychic level. Like it's almost immediate where you're able to connect with each other and able to kind of get each other, like finish each other's sentences if you're actually around each other, or just have a really easy time assuming what the other person might be thinking or feeling and then being right about it. Having dreams about a person obviously shows some type of connection on a more soul and like astral level, but even more so, you know, even getting like songs stuck in your head sometimes can show like a connection that you are forming with somebody. Now, falling more on the darker side of the spectrum of karmic relationships, you'll be able to see that you're in a karmic relationship more so once you've already been in one, when the relationship starts to play way more strongly on your weaknesses rather than your strengths. Now, granted, one that plays on your strengths can also be a karmic relationship, but I can almost guarantee that that kind of strength in a relationship is going to come after you have a few tumultuous kind of confrontations. For example, a lot of the time when you see people talk about soulmates, you know, it's that yin and yang effect, or like twin flames, you know, that is that yin and yang effect a lot of the time, where it's like, you know, two halves create a whole. But the problem with that is that if you're only at half, you're never going to be whole unless you're using another person, which is not exactly what is being asked out of karmic relationships. Karma has a lot to do with Saturn, and Saturn is tied with hard work and also having a sense of self-discipline and, you know, inner authority. So if you get into a relationship where you feel like those boundaries are collapsing or lacking, then that is a good sign that you are in a karmic relationship, especially because over time you'll notice that the relationship will start to just be a lot more draining, and that preoccupation that you have with each other will also be a lot more draining, to the point where you're not feeling exactly fulfilled with the current circumstances in that relationship. And that's the karmic part about it. You know, you have to work through this karma and essentially reestablish this energy for better use. And that requires taking some accountability for yourself and the way that you are distributing your energy to other people in the world around you. It's important to note that it takes two to tango here too. So if somebody becomes way more powerful in a relationship and somebody becomes more of the underdog, you have to be aware of how the power has been given away on both sides of the spectrum. So just a side note, but you know, to play on that in the better way is allowing each other to recognize the strong opposition within the other, so you can learn from that and, you know, take that back within yourself and become that more balanced yin and yang together. Which leads me to the last sign that I have for you about being in a karmic relationship, or what to look out for in karmic relationship, which basically are moments of level up, where you're being called to accept the challenge, take responsibility for your actions, and grow and ascend together, or everything's done. You're done. You're cutting each other off. And that's huge in karmic relationships, because it's supposed to challenge you on your life path to ascend, grow, and to, like I said, take more responsibility for yourself and the relationship that you have with the world around you. Saturn being exalted in Libra says a lot about this energy, because it shows how natural it is for us to learn our karma through relationships. And when you choose to level up, despite if the other person does or does not, you're still choosing to deal with that karma and take responsibility for that karma. You know, you're not sitting and playing into the dismay over and over and over again. And I should just add my personal thoughts on this whole idea of destiny or fate. I don't think anything is completely set in stone. It really does depend on how willing both parties are to develop this energy. And I have to say that karmic relationships, the lessons within them, they don't need to be learned directly with that person. If anything, sometimes karmic relationships do require you to cut somebody off so you can get yourself straight and realize what energy was serving you and what doesn't serve you. All up to your own ability to work with this energy. And like I said, if the other person is willing to work with it too. Nobody needs to take the shit end of the stick in a karmic relationship if both parties are aware of the karma that's being served to them is rightfully being served to them. Thus, so they can take responsibility for it, which is kind of the goal in these moments. Karmic partners in relationships, whether they're platonic, romantic, it doesn't matter, are going to act as a mirror for you. They're going to show you parts of yourself that you're not accepting, you're not utilizing to the highest of their ability. And if you need to know more about that, please check out all of the other videos on my channel, because I really do talk about this so much. So I hope having this kind of further understanding of a sign that you're in a karmic relationship can help you personally level up and decide, take the bull by the horns essentially, and say, you know what, I'm going to handle this problem with this situation because I'm now seeing it as something that is coming up for me to handle, essentially. And that's the beauty behind relationships like this. They truly propel you towards your destiny one step at a time, just because these are connections that you're allowing to affect your energy in a way that can help it grow and evolve and change. Karma is so powerful because it can touch us that way, because it's so personalized, yet completely abides by a higher power that was best said by this author, which I don't know how to say his name, so here it is. but it was, "Say at last, who art thou? That power I serve, which wills forever evil, yet does forever good." This to me is the energy of karmic relationships, because as much as this tumultuous energy might be threatening to your current state of being, it is for a reason. And that's a powerful reason at that. So be open to accepting the power that it's showing you to take within yourself, because that is essentially what karmic relationships are here for. But that is all for now, folks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Leave your comments down below if you have any video recommendations as well about things that you would like me to talk about from my perspective, because I don't know, I've kind of like not wanted to talk about things because I'm like, everybody has already had a video about this. But I've noticed that my perspective on these things are just kind of different than other people. So I'm open to talking about more things now. So anywho, if you guys want to see more shit that I have to say, check out the links below to my other social medias as always. But I'm gonna skedaddle, so thank you for chatting, and I will see you in a later video. Peace.